Charles, it's one of the rare occasions where it's not sunny in Philadelphia.
I know. I feel like we got to get our money back, right? It's definitely always Crony in Philadelphia, but it's not sunny at the moment. In fact, it's freaking cold.
It is really cold. And I don't know if people can see Independence Hall back there. Is this Independence Park?
I don't know. It's Independence Visitor Center, dead ahead, to your left.
Yeah, this is where a couple of years ago I met with Michael Moore when he launched his book. And there's not a lot of people around here today, Charles.
It's amazing to me. I mean, I have actually not been to Philadelphia that many times during the day. I mean, I would recruit at Wharton and have dinners there and stuff. But to see so few people out, I guess that's in part because you have no tourists, no sensible tourists anyway, coming to Philadelphia or anywhere else. I know in February. There's the bell.
Who is that bell tolling for?
It's tolling for thee.
I guess it's 3 o'clock. Yeah.
It is. So we got
wait a minute. Is it going out here live? Oh no. Something wrong? No, it's going. Okay,
yeah.
We're good.
It's we got a head start on the clock or on the bell, or the bell is not actually accurate.
Right.
We tested it out. Your clock versus the bell.
Well, it's the atomic clock or whatever Apple uses on the phone. But Charles, today is technically the first day of my road trip. Thank you for joining me.
It's my pleasure and honor.
A lot of people, want you and I to do this road trip nationwide so that they can continue to enjoy shows of us walking around various cities. But for today, I think this worked out well because you're going to be able to head back and I'll continue on. But what do you want to tell us about Independence Hall, Charles? Anything?
Well, I think this is where not the present document that the Democrats and President Small, I won't use the name, but it's a part of his anatomy, Eric Small, you know what I mean, Swall.
Swalwell.
Right, Swall not so well, is always talking about the Constitution, but the way he's thinking about it, it's spelled K-O-N, The real Constitution, I think, was inked here, wasn't it?
I believe so. Independence Hall. We were just talking to somebody here in the park who said that you used to be able to go right in there until September 11th.
Right.
But now it's got a big fence in front of it, and also I think due to coronavirus, nobody can go in.
It's quite all right.
It's just totally inaccessible.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice building, not being maintained. Nobody's going to look at the stuff that's inside, and you've got all these guards and maintenance people. Here we go. Congress Hall, built as the county courthouse. Let's see. Built as the Pennsylvania State House, used by the U.S. Supreme Court.
That's old City Hall.
Yeah.
1802. There's a lot of history here.
Yeah. Yeah. Including the history we're making.
Right. Well, I mean, it's good maybe for people who haven't been to Philadelphia before or haven't been here in a while.
Right.
To just sort of see what's going on. I mean, that's basically the idea. Another walk-around type video here in another city.
Right. I just want to finish the thought,
Sure.
if I may, on Constitution. So the Constitution, as originally drafted and adopted with the Bill of Rights by 1790, whatever year it was that the Bill of Rights was adopted, yes, it was a flawed document in the sense that slavery was not rendered illegal by that document, and that's a serious issue and a serious scar that remains on the country. But nonetheless, that document, the principles of governance put forth in that document were really something that I would guess, judging by my watching of the impeachment proceedings yesterday, very few senators and very few members of the House of Representatives, and certainly not the distinguished Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, I don't think they understand the original Constitution.
Or did they read it?
Yeah, why do that? We'll just make shit up.
Get the Cliff Notes.
We'll just make crap up. But I mean, it really is to understand how revolutionary that document was. You have to remember that back when America first became independent from England, much of the world was ruled by monarchies some of which still the kings believed that they had divine right, or the queen divine right, and you couldn't question their rule. You had very few rights you were a subject. You weren't a citizen.
We're back to that now.
I know, we're heading back to that breakneck speed, you know?
Yeah.
Should we keep going
Yeah.
this way? And it's one thing, I mean, in many monarchies, and I think Prince Charles is living proof of that in England, the royal families are not in the genius building business. I mean, they don't.
Yeah, there was a lot of inbreeding going on.
A lot of inbreeding still going on, and a lot of not learning, and a lot of too much drinking and carousing, and you end up with somebody who likes to speak to plants all day long, you know. And I won't even get into what he said about Camilla.
Charles speaks to plants?
Oh yeah, he likes talking to plants.
Wow.
And he, for people who remember the history, it's a little bit gross, so we won't get into the details, but when he was writing love letters to Camilla when he was still married to Diana, he had a rather weird suggestion of where he wanted to spend most of each day. And I won't get into it. I think you can imagine. So here we are walking really towards, I think, the business district here in Philadelphia. I don't know.
Well, the downtown kind of area, right?
I think where we just were, there are a lot of the old buildings of historical significance. And up ahead, we can't see it at the moment, there's a big modern skyscraper about 5-6 blocks down. We'll get to that in a bit.
I think that's the Comcast headquarters.
Yeah, if you want to rent a post office box, you can do that. Continental Station.
I know somebody who's really fond of not renting post office boxes.
and telling you to send stuff to a box that he doesn't own?
Yeah, something like that.
He or she.
We'll perhaps find out more about that, checking out the docket. But there's not a lot of activity here. Wednesday afternoon, 3 o'clock in Philadelphia. Here we see the Popo are out. People who know Philadelphia and know this neighborhood. I don't really know.
Is that jewelry? That jewelry street is up there.
Let's go down over there. We're just sort of casing out the area earlier. So, you know, a friend of mine who lives in Philadelphia once told me that Philadelphia is kind of like the bootleg New York. Oh yeah, so this is I think the police headquarters right here.
Popo, honor, integrity, and service. And there are many honorable, high integrity public servants in police departments around the country, but there are also crooked people. And they seem to be, many of them seem to be inside the FBI.
Yeah.
And it's a disgraceful thing. I would give a plug and shout out to Sputnik, and specifically to Katrina Vainova. You've done interviews with her, and she's just got one posted with me talking about this impeachment and what's really going on, and there'll be more to come on that.
Yeah.
I would encourage people to read it. If you like it, share it.
Well,
and then go back.
The launch of the impeachment yesterday. Sorry, go back to what?
Go back to the list of all the stories she and I have done together. It's kind of a lot.
Is that on SputnikNews.com?
It is. If you just punch her name, Ekaterina Splinova, Blinova, and you'll get to her landing page. You could sort it, and just for the ones that involve me. And here.
So I guess this is Jewelers Row here, Charles.
It would appear to be. I think we're not make them nervous. We're casing the joint. Tang's Diamonds. And there we have, you can get jewelry and then you can get a pizza.
Perfect.
Tang's Diamonds. Let's see if they're open. Yeah, they appear to be open.
Gemologists on the premises.
Good to know.
But I guess this is kind of like the Diamond District. So, I mean, you know, Philadelphia
it's
is...
not... Go ahead.
Well, it's similar in certain ways to New York, but, you know, like my friend said with the bootleg edition, it's just a little bit sort of smaller and...
more intimate, Jason. If you're selling real estate,
yes.
You'd say, this more intimate building.
Yes. But you can already see the different style. Like we've got these, this sort of like walk down. I like that aspect of different cities when you have certain things that are kind of just unique to the city, just the style of buildings. You go to San Francisco, there's a certain kind of building. I can't say that I know Philadelphia well enough.
All these stores seem to be open. These must be essential businesses.
Right. Jewelry.
Well, the good thing about
Cash for gold.
J.E. Caldwell Jewelers since 1839. So, been a while.
Yeah. So what was your impression of the opening of the impeachment hearing, Charles?
Well, I would give a special shout out to America's only Eritrean American member of the House of Representatives who is representing as a Democrat Colorado, a portion of Colorado. And while I do not, I think this is an absurd witch hunt that in the end will discredit Democrats and the Republicans who support it. I have to say this guy, his name is Joe Neguse, Neguse.
He's from Eritrea?
Eritrea, his parents were, but he was born in America, and I thought his performance, I obviously didn't listen, although perhaps viewers believe I did, to Abraham Lincoln's Cooper Union speech in New York, but it was that level of very, very eloquent analysis of a complex set of issues. I mean, I was really impressed by the guy.
Was he talking about why it is legal for him to impeach even though he's left office?
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that he did a good job even though, well, I can't say I disagree with it. The guy presented the facts and it's like, yeah, too bad. You can be impeached even if you've left office.
It makes sense. Well, it's actually great news. I mean, hats off to the Democrats. I thought the Republicans, do you want to go straight or that way, or what do you want to do?
I'm just sort of soaking it all in here for a moment. We can go wherever you like. This place here is the king of jewelers.
Right.
Odd to see a monarchy here in
Philadelphia.
Yeah. It should just be the Congress of Jewelers.
That's right. It should be the president of jewelers.
Yeah. But I didn't like that fact, but they established it, and I'm not going to even say I don't like it. That's
careful, Jason.
They can definitely impeach him, even though he's gone.
Well, the reason I like it, I mean, I think it's correct, but it also we've now got Obama, Clinton, Holder, Lynch.
They mentioned Eric Holder.
I know.
Said, what if we just, for instance, want to impeach Eric Holder?
Hypothetically.
Why did I mention him?
But
some Republicans might want to.
Yeah. But I thought the Republicans, the lawyers for the Republicans should be fired. I mean, they're just not impressive. I mean, this is not.
What's his name? Mark Schoen and
the other guy.
the guy
Castor.
rubbing his head while he's drinking water. That was bizarre.
Why don't we go up that way? You think?
Sure.
Yeah. And so. I thought the Republican performance, given that this is really the trial of the century, you would have thought that the former president, and his team could have procured lawyers who were killer. And what I've been taught by some of the killer lawyers I know is that the best in that kind of a contentious situation, the best. This is interesting.
What is this?
Swit. Joan Swit Langboard.
It's a pawn shop, I guess.
Vintage watches.
Pawn stars.
All kinds of rings here, ancient rings. Interesting. Bet you some of those are Masonic. That one there, maybe?
Yes, it is. Interesting.
That's a nice.
As many of them are, actually, as I look around.
What degree Mason are you?
None.
Oh, stop,
But look
Jason.
at that. Now we've got Greek society one there. I think probably all of these mean something.
Yeah, that's a very modest ring there.
This is an interesting shop.
Yeah, that's why I thought we should stop and look at it for a second. And some of that, what is that price there? That's not $13,000, is it?
I think if you have to ask, Charles. Modern silver and jewelry. Well, perhaps this is a good thing to be investing in now that the dollar is going to be worth nothing after the Great Reset.
And you see that silver up there, that's all, most of that is crap.
Crap?
Yeah, it's not high quality silver.
How can you tell?
Because I collect silver.
Oh. Well, I got a news flash for you, Charles. I think most of everything in this window is crap.
There you go.
Excuse me.
Hey.
Can
Hi.
I ask what you're doing?
We're just observing the shop.
Okay.
Are you the proprietor?
I am.
How long has it been here?
Since 1933.
Nice.
Wow.
Are we right in thinking that these are Masonic rings?
Mm-hmm.
Each one of them, or?
Yes.
Interesting.
They're the old Masonics.
Huh.
Definitely.
Anything you'd like to share with us? We've got an audience of thousands.
Well, what do you represent, sir, if I may ask?
Just looking at Philadelphia in the pandemic and seeing how everything is going with the stores shut down and everybody.
Yeah, it's affected business. Definitely.
Has it?
Of course. We were shut down for 12 weeks.
Wow.
Pretty outrageous, isn't it?
I would say so, yes.
So are you kind of a pawn shop?
No.
Not a pawn
We
shop.
just do estate work. In other words, we buy estates.
Uh-huh.
That's always been the business here,
Smart.
as far as that's concerned.
What's the most unusual thing that you've sold recently?
I couldn't tell you. We sell so much of it.
Uh-huh.
You know, we just run the gamut. We go from the sublime to the ridiculous in this place.
Uh-huh.
Well, that's good. Thank you for speaking with
My
us.
pleasure.
Have
Thank
a nice
you.
day.
Take care.
Yeah, so that's good. This is sort of what I was hoping for today, Charles. Just walk around Philadelphia,
Sure.
meet a couple of people.
I think he was probably worried that we were casing the joint.
Right. Well, we were just
We
insulting.
do
it.
look, like, because every good burglar is going to walk around.
With a
Look at
video.
that. Somebody's broken in that window a little bit.
Oh
Shattered
wow!
that
Yeah,
window.
look at that.
Defino and Campagna, fine jewelry. Doesn't seem to be much of it left.
Yeah, I mean, this
Yeah,
guy's
and
the
by the
king
way,
of gold.
You can stop off at Smooth Sunshine Spa for a massage.
I don't know about that. Well, it's interesting to see the jewelry district.
I didn't realize the jewelry district in Philadelphia was this big.
It feels small to me. There's a barber shop there. Oh wait, Pan Quotidian open. They're all closed in New York,
Uh-huh.
aren't they?
Well, it's because it's always sunny in Philadelphia. So people, they decide to keep it open here where it's sunny. Here's Penn Medicine, University of Penn, Pennsylvania.
I don't know if there are Howard Stern fans remaining, but there's Steven Singer Jewelers.
Is that from Howard Stern?
Yeah.
How?
They were sponsors, and then I
Really?
think the guy's been on there. I don't like Howard Stern anymore since he is now Hillary Clinton
Wussified.
acolyte,
Yeah.
and also went against Trump.
Careful. Some,
Dog present.
that's right. Nothing, wear a mask. Shit all over the sidewalk.
Right. So they opened up the thing. They've established quite well that it's definitely within the intention of an impeachment to do it to people after they leave office. But for me, Charles, that was very much a social engineering technique where they've got everybody focused on the particulars and the technicalities of what they're doing, when what we really should be focused on is Trump did not do what it is that they're claiming that he did.
Right, and ordinarily, when you have a trial, even to go down the process of instigating proceedings to get people arrested, you have to assert the crime. And as they tried to explain, the presentation of the crime was not asserted lawfully. And nonetheless, of course we knew that 50 Democrats were going to vote to go ahead. 6 nutcases in the Republican Party. So yeah, even though this was not charged properly, even though there was no real due process, Trump didn't have a chance as people to counter, to fight the indictment or contest the indictment. And even though they rushed it through and then sat on it until the very last minute, despite all those flaws, let's go ahead with this. Again, even though they haven't been able to tie any kind of a line between Trump inciting somebody to do anything. Trump didn't incite an insurrection. If anything, I think, we were talking about this coming down here, I think going back over the video of people who can tear apart this 12 to 15 minute video that was presented yesterday, and maybe there'll be another one today, and take us through who are these people yelling and screaming. Are we sure these are Trump supporters, even though it has a Trump hat on? I mean, we should be able to figure out who each of these people are,
Right.
what their backgrounds are, who are the people making the videos. You were saying that some of them are Antifa.
The whole entire video that the Democrats showed at the impeachment was made up of Antifa, guerrilla journalists. It was Jaden X, it was BG on the scene. I mean, it never been more clear to me that this whole thing was absolutely set up. They made sure they had their people there to record it, to create this evidence.
Right.
I mean, this is how these social engineering operations work. They stage something, they set it up through social media, they execute it and record it, and then they want to elevate it into mainstream.
Right.
So that worked very well with this Capitol attack, but where is this kid John Sullivan? I really hope Trump's lawyers spend more time focusing on who actually did this.
Right. Who paid for it? And they shut Parler down because in theory Parler was one of the means that were used by these folks to assemble and plan and coordinate. But I believe that a lot of people, certainly on the Antifa side, were using Twitter, Facebook and
absolutely.
other means. So how did that decision to shut Parler down get coordinated and instigated and coordinated?
It's like saying that, the criminals drove there, so we're going to shut Ford down.
Right.
It's like, I don't know. That's not how that works.
That is how that doesn't work.
Well, and also the Mercers have pushed out the kid who created Parler, who programmed it. He's gone.
Right.
It seems to me that company is not going to go anywhere, because when you ditch the guy who has the passion to create it, you're left with just, the same kind of people who show me pictures of the lizard with no lab coat, and when I say, well, wait a minute, the lizard always wears a lab coat, they laugh at me until Comic-Con, and then they add a lab coat.
Huh.
A lot of stuff named after Thomas Jefferson around
What did
here,
he ever
Joe.
do?
Yeah. Well, this is the Thomas Jefferson University.
Yeah.
Let's see, how do our viewers like a walk around Philadelphia? Less sirens, people are saying.
Well, we can't do anything about the sirens. Jason is not yet mayor of Philadelphia.
It's the Sidney Kimmel Medical College. No relation to Jimmy Kimmel. Or maybe there is.
Maybe there is.
Oh, wow, that's an interesting question, is there?
Going way back, there could well be. You never know.
Thomas Jefferson University. Well, so the fact that they were just basically using Antifa footage to prove that Trump did something, it's absolutely crazy. They played the section of the president's speech where he says, we're going to walk down there and I'll go down there with you.
And they cut out key exculpatory comments by Trump. And the thing of it is, Trump's team, and you can't just blame his team, Trump himself, are making fatal errors here. This is not a lawful exercise. This is not even a lawfare exercise. This is social engineering. And this is an attempt to cast Trump and anyone who might support Trump as belligerent, ignorant, criminal elements who need to be put down like dogs. I mean, that's basically the way they're trying to do it. My classmate Thomas Friedman, who at Yale was a very good student, and he was head of the Yale Daily News, and I think he was a Marshall Scholar. Very smart guy, but he's a total insider, swamp monster. And they did an interview with him. You're already in hell.
Someone corrected the spelling, kind of. They don't know where to put the apostrophe. This is like the battle of the uneducated over here.
There's Dunkin' Donuts. You don't need to stop, or?
Okay.
All right. So.
Unless they have mochi donuts.
Is that spelled M-O-C-H-I?
Yeah.
Because I believe I read that Michelle Obama has a new children's show with Netflix coming out where it's called Mochi and something or other to try to encourage kids to eat better food.
Mochi is dessert, though. It's ice cream.
Scoop DeVille. Anyway, so Thomas Friedman is just, I forget who he was talking with. He was being interviewed by somebody, and he said, you know, let's just, it was Jake Tapper, I think, let's just contrast the situation today in the U.S. and China. And Moriarty's, there you go. How do you pronounce that Ireland's oldest ale, do you think?
Smithwick's?
Smithwick's. Just in case you ever go there. Don't want you to get, you know. What was Smithwick's?
Now, wait a minute. So Quince Street is apparently supporting LGBTQ.
Good. And here's this is Irish Pub Street. So Friedman runs the following argument. He says, Jake, you probably don't know this, but it takes approximately 4 hours and 28 minutes to go by fast train from Beijing to Shanghai, a distance that's similar to from Chicago to Washington, D.C. We should be having a serious conversation now about infrastructure, not having to deal with the belligerent Trump people who cast a stain on the Capitol. And it's just such crap comparison. First of all, we don't know that it was Trump supporters who instigated it. And the reason that our infrastructure system is so screwed up has a lot to do with public sector and other unions and our unique system of private land ownership in this country that makes it very difficult to put together the kind of rail beds that you need to operate these high-speed trains, on top of which we've already invested so much in a car-based economy. We have all these highways. You really want to sit around and wait at a train station and find out that maybe an Amtrak train run by, overseen by the gifted, the smartest person Joe Biden knows, Hunter Biden is vice chair or whatever he was, the director of Amtrak. You really want to count on Amtrak? Or would you rather...
You're raising a good point, Charles, because it's very unfair to make those kind of comparisons without looking at the history of the countries, because China probably, until they built that train, you couldn't get anywhere at all by any means.
Right, and probably how many slaves were used to build that rail in the first place in China?
Whose land was stolen to do it.
Right, but the approach that the other side is taking is to put out this guy Tom Friedman, the distinguished Pulitzer Prize winning, multiple Pulitzer Prize winning, Yale this, Oxford that, distinguished author, confidant of Obama and other people, globalist extraordinaire. He thinks this is beneath contempt to even be wasting time. Everybody knows that he didn't go so far as to say this, but the next step is anybody who voted for Trump and anyone who would dare to support, to resist a headlong rush to, in theory, justice, anybody like that deserves to lose everything, their voting rights, their property. I mean, they were talking...
No trial, no due process.
Well, some idiot on MSNBC, which is like everyone who appears there, was saying that Trump supporters needed to be drone striked.
I heard that, yeah.
Yeah, that's really tolerant. Call for unity. How do you like our unity? Did you notice you're dead because we just drone striked you? I mean, if you're going to drone strike me, why do you want unity? It's another way to think about it.
The butcher's smokehouse has
been smoked.
Well, how are you feeling about our surroundings, Charles, as compared to New York? Like the level of
urban living at its best.
Well, they don't seem to have as many of the outdoor restaurants, so perhaps...
They don't seem to have as many restaurants functioning.
That's true. Well, that's a good question. I mean, is that a function of the fact that there's just less people around to support that kind of thing? Or are restaurateurs in Philadelphia less susceptible to stupid suggestions than those in New York?
I got nothing for you on that. I mean, I look around here and
there's one right now as we speak, an outdoor tent.
There you go. There's one there.
Really nothing going on. Yeah.
Charlie was a sinner, or whatever that is.
bird on the logo for that place. But I mean, it's looking pretty darn dead.
Yeah, you can go to the dim sum factory. It's open.
Yeah, well, one thing that's nice that we've learned is that restaurant dining is open in Philadelphia at 25%. So perhaps after the show, you and I can grab a bite. That's going to be my first time in a restaurant.
You want more than one bite or just a bite?
As many
Actual
bites as
bite.
it takes to complete whatever food we get.
Right.
But
We can go to VIP Food and Produce right over there.
yeah, we didn't really get a chance to see what's going on with the impeachment today.
Well, it's more drivel. I mean, the Democrats have set this up. They probably, the Republicans insisted on doing that constitutional stuff yesterday, and Democrats reluctantly agreed to it, forcing the Republicans to concede as much as possible. But yesterday was an embarrassment, and now they're going to have 2 days of cameo appearances by the various impeachment managers, all whatever the opposite of virtue signaling is, denigrating,
Evil signaling.
yeah, well, just casting shade on Trump and anyone who would dare to think that Trump has a position, or that we ought to consider more carefully what actually did happen on January 6th and before, or God forbid, look into the question of whether the election was indeed stolen in key swing states, as I think it was.
Well, we're so far off of that mark, it's almost inconceivable that we could ever get back to a point.
But I fault Donald J. Trump for this. I really do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like if this happened to him in 17, 18, if he were impeached in 17 or 18, I'd say, well, okay, the guy, he was bamboozled, and I give him the benefit of the doubt. But he had to have known at some point, or he had to have suspected, that there were a lot more dirty people on his team than he thought. There were a lot of backstabbers on his team, people pretending to be loyal Trump people and then whispering into the swamp to get whatever favors they actually got out of the swamp.
What if that's Jared?
It could well be Jared and Ivanka. Absolutely. Now, what is this? Broad Street.
Yeah, I mean, this is very much a
This is nice.
exploration of Philadelphia.
What's that over there, Jason?
That's City Hall, I believe. Oh, let's
Wait.
walk down this way, Charles.
Well, I was going to suggest, why don't we go...
But real quick, there's some cool stuff over here I want to show you.
Okay.
So first of all, this is, wow, the Wells Fargo History Museum. Yeah, this is an interesting little stretch of land. Now, was it you that I was talking to? No. I was talking to Lee Stranahan yesterday on High Dive, which is a show that people can enjoy on Subscribestar and Patreon, about the fact that the Wells Fargo Bank, a Wells Fargo Bank in London is on, I think, King George Street. Guess what the address is, Charles?
33.
Yeah, 33 King George, I think King George Street, I think is the name of it. And it's right next to the Fishmongers Hall,
Right.
where they tried to stab that guy with the narwhal tusk. And that building is kind of the same style as the Eisenhower office building, which is like Addams Family style. And the reason why I find this interesting is that I'm pretty sure at the end of the block over here is the Freemason Hall here in Philadelphia, which I've been into once before.
Are you sure you're not a Mason? You've been in a
Well,
Freemason
I was just
Hall.
in the lobby. I did a little walking around on a live stream.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah,
Here in Philadelphia?
yeah. And there's some cool statues outside there that I'd like us to take a look at as well. But I am 99% sure that right there is City Hall.
Dead ahead?
Yeah. And then here's the Hip City Veg, your favorite new restaurant.
Introducing our smokehouse burger.
Yeah, I don't know what this thing is with the dome on the top of it.
Some kind of bank, most likely.
It's got an A over there.
Admiral.
And I know that there's going to be viewers in Philadelphia who will be annoyed and say that I should have contacted them and told them. Got to be real careful about discussing where I'm going, where I am. And also, Charles, there have been a lot of really generous offers from people around the country inviting me to come and stay with them as I travel around. And I really do appreciate those offers, but it's such a big risk because I don't know so many of the people who contact me and start meeting with people that I don't know.
Right, it's an imposition on them as well, assuming they're generous and nice.
Yeah.
And Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts Convention. Oh, 30th Street Station Amtrak is this way. Okay.
Yeah.
So
It's pretty
that's
close.
good to know.
Yeah.
It's a lot like Greenwich Village. I have no idea how you go from 6th Street to 30th Street without going through 7th, 8th, 9th, etc. 1 South Broad. This is a little busier. Justice, South Penn Square. See, McCormick and Schmick's.
I don't like that place at all.
Biden loves it, but he thinks
Does he really?
He thinks it's called McCormick and Schmucks.
Yeah, it's a terrible
he's the
restaurant.
schmuck.
I
Yeah, I
can't
don't
believe
know.
it's still in business.
Doesn't look too much.
There was one in New York. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
still around. Now, where is the Mason Hall?
The
I thought it
Wanamaker
was
building.
right here.
Huh?
I thought it was right here. I think it's on the corner there. I
Okay.
think. I don't know. I really don't know.
That's like when I was snowmobiling above the Arctic Circle in Finland, supposedly going to Russia with a few of Fabian, a few other friends, and we had armed guards with us because this is like 1998 or thereabouts.
Uh-huh.
And these armed guards started looking very, very nervous.
That's not good.
And I said to Fabian, this is not good. And I finally teased it out of them that we had gone inside Russia. We like didn't notice the boundary. We're like in the middle of nowhere on snowmobiles. And they were trying to figure out how to get us back inside Finland so we could cross into Russia correctly. Let's see, the Wanamaker building. Wanamaker's, what was that? It was a big department store chain, wasn't it?
I don't know. Wanamaker, it's a street, isn't it?
No, they're a big department store for sure.
It's in Chicago, isn't it?
I think, was it Chicago or
I don't know.
here?
Maybe here.
Yeah, Macy's.
So Philadelphia, Charles, is a city very much like when you live in New York. This is like a high school field trip kind of thing. Come to Philadelphia, check out some of the historic buildings.
Well, I mean, there's a great, the University of Pennsylvania is a great university, and if you're interested in business, the Wharton School is quite good. If you're interested in promoting Crony, unregulated globalism, you of course have the Penn Biden School or Center, which is based, obviously, because the University of Pennsylvania is here, you wouldn't want to base it here. You base it in Washington, D.C., so the people at the University of Pennsylvania can go to Washington, D.C. and charge off their expensive meals and hang around with goofy Joe Biden and others. It's worth going. It's worth going to the website. I was laughing hysterically. The one lecture series is dumber than the next. In fact, there's a session going on now with a very aptly named, I think he's Norwegian, former foreign minister, or I forget what he's exactly, but it's called, his name is Anders Fogh, Fogh or something like that. And it's on the subject of globalism and international leadership and the best way to bribe politicians.
What?
That's what globalism is all about. You have these fancy conferences at places like the Penn Center, and you convene groups of people. Let's see, okay. And and you get a whole bunch of college students to draft up agenda items, and other college students and interns write the speeches for everybody, and you have refreshments, and then the politicians all go to the back room, smoke cigars, and hit on the interns, and all in the name of globalism. Now, which direction do you think we ought to go?
Just right over here real quick. I
Okay.
want to show people who maybe haven't seen it before. The Masons Hall. There's quite a few interesting sculptures outside, and I'm pretty sure we're very, very close to it here.
Uh-huh.
If
That's
not
what the
looking right at
guys.
it.
That's what the guys were telling me in Russia, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
No,
sure
I
we're
think
close.
we're looking at it right there.
Okay.
I think that castle is it.
Okay.
So it's it's right next to City Hall. I guess the Masons are the guys that built all
Many
this stuff.
things, hence their name.
Yeah.
I have several books about Masons. And if you go far enough back into your ancestry, if you've been here in the United States for generations, you're going to have Masons in your ancestry, including, I think, my grandfather, the minister, was a Mason. But certainly great-grandfathers and great-great-grandfathers were. Yeah, this is pretty nice down
Yeah,
there.
if you need
City
something
Hall,
notarized, this is a convenient hotel.
the autograph collection. This is a hotel. I think this is a hotel now.
It is. The Notary Hotel.
The Notary Hotel, okay. Notorious, or notarious. Notarious B.I.G. Careful.
So it's sort of like old Philadelphia meets new Philadelphia, Charles. Here we got City Hall and then the Comcast Pyramid building over there.
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
How can you tell?
It is.
Okay.
I've been in a meeting in that building.
Oh, okay. I thought you were clairvoyant because I don't see a sign or anything.
Because also they own Universal Studios.
Do they?
Comcast Universal, yeah.
Wow. There's PNC. So this must be more the downtown business district where we are.
Yeah, and we're also, I think, kind of close to the statue of that mayor. Who's the famous mayor of Philadelphia who called people crumb bums and stuff like that?
I don't remember.
Oh man, I can't believe I don't remember his name.
This is Masonic Hall, or Masonic something or other.
Yeah, it is. This is the
Masonic
main...
Temple, Grand Lodge, Free and Accepted Masons of Pennsylvania. Huh?
Sorry? Yeah.
Hi.
And then here is what I want to...
guys.
What's that?
Welcome to Philadelphia.
Hi.
You biked down from New York?
No, I biked out 5 blocks that way. I saw you on my phone and I said, wait a minute. I know where that is.
So you're a Philadelphia resident?
God bless, yes. It's 1984.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, that's right.
And how's it been?
It's been better in New York. I've been watching you every show.
Oh, nice.
I'll tell you what, it's a lot better. A lot of people are just crazy leftist, masked, germophobic hypochondriacs, but
Right.
welcome to America. I can still ride. I ride my bike every day because the lap do that's supposed to stay healthy. And used to be 100% of the joggers, 100% of the bikers, 100% of the kids in baby carriages,
Masked
double
up?
mask. It's easing up. Heard about Iowa? Heard about Colorado? Heard about South Dakota? Iowa, baby. Jason, check out Iowa. Your
I will.
buddy Jason Burbis lives there now, so
He lives in Iowa?
you can buy him a beer when you get there. Yeah, he moved to
I'm
Iowa.
not going to do that. Oop, you
Oh,
just
Charles,
dropped-
I got to get an autograph, please.
Okay.
All right, maybe when you're done.
Let's just hold your bike so you can.
Okay.
I'll hold your bike while you get your stuff off the ground.
So what can you tell us about
But
this?
anyway, so the
Well, you
last
got
few
all-
days, about half the people are masked.
Really?
Charles, you're my idol. The 2-minute speech you gave to that stockbroker, remember that little rally?
Yeah.
That should be required 101 in every economics course.
Oh, thank you.
You explain, all right, well, what case? You want to retire or not? Yeah, some of them are evil, some of them are... Anyway, but about half the people now are not masking when they're jogging, which
got
is
it.
insane.
I'm gonna let go of the
Not masking when
bike.
they're walking.
Got it?
Yeah.
What would you like me
Well,
to
that's
Okay.
interesting observation that people are starting
Well, yeah, I
to...
gotta look at, like you. Instead of a camera, I just take my bike and my eyes at every day.
What is your name?
John
John.
Stonis.
John what?
Stonis, S-T-O-N-I-S. You can cut that out if you want.
Sorry. It's going out live.
Yeah. But anyway, I took a trip cross country, just like you, Jason, last October. I said, this is crazy. I look out my window, there's 100% of the people wearing masks. I gotta get out of here. I'm gonna get arrested. I almost got arrested at Walmart. I cursed out Mayor Kitty right there on the corner. I
That's
said,
the guy's name. What's
Mayor
it?
Kitty. He just ended Columbus Day today.
Ended it? What do you
Indian
mean?
American, or Indigenous Americans Day is now Columbus Day here.
Really?
Can you imagine that? Mike Moore was on his board talking about it. So awesome.
Wow.
You know Mike Moore.
No, Rizzo. Frank Rizzo.
No,
is the
no,
mayor I
yeah, he
thinking
was the
about.
best mayor ever. That's where his statue was, right over there before.
Oh, it's gone?
BLM threatened to yank it down, so he took it out in the middle of the night last
Really?
spring. Yeah.
Oh my God! So
This
that
is great.
Rizzo,
It was Rizzo doing this, and I had video of a blizzard in Philadelphia. God bless, Charles. I love you so much.
All right. Thank you.
I mean, I respect you.
No, thank you. And the great Jason.
You brought me this guy. Seriously, you should go with him to Iowa. Iowa's where the new center of the country's
right.
going to be. But anyway, so Rizzo's doing this, right?
Yeah.
And I go out, the last blizzard we had was about 11 years ago. And I'm out here by cross-country skis because nothing stops me. And Rizzo had this wizard's hat of snow on. And he looked like the Grand Colleague calling the Klan meeting to order.
Man.
And my camera froze. I had 100 blizzard pictures, Rocky with snow up to here on his shoulders. You know, everybody's covered with snow. And I got one of Rizzo, and my camera froze. Well, you'll never forget, you can Photoshop it if you want. Rizzo with a wizard's hat on. Where are you guys headed? You can't beat the Masonic Temple. I mean, this is the heart. This is the soul. Look at these great statues here. Posing them. You got Franklin and Washington.
Well, that's what I wanted to
Yucking
show.
it up.
Yeah. And where is 30th Street Station from here?
Well, it's 30th Street and you're at like 15th. So 15
just that way?
blocks. Yeah, you can see it from here.
Oh, okay.
Right down there. So that's where you headed back.
Well,
Charles, you'd have come down and do Mike Moore now that Jason doesn't want you anymore.
he wants me.
Well, what else can you tell us about anything interesting in this immediate vicinity?
Well, I almost got arrested here because the mayor was getting out of his limo on the way to a city hall meeting. I said, "And the fucking lockdown, you goddamn moron!" And his security guards, going for the iron.
But that's freedom of speech. You should be able to say
Well,
that.
yeah, but we know where freedom of speech will get you in this country anymore.
Right.
So anyway, and then we had, the convention center was where the Stop the Steal rally were, the Black Lives Matter facing off with the Trumpers, the American flags
Where
against
was
the
that?
disco BLM.
Up there.
Down here to the right 3 blocks on Arch Street is where the convention center was. And I'm out in the street. Where's Giuliani? Giuliani's here. Get him out of here. We're counting stolen votes here. So I have been the voice of unreason.
Were you in the convention center when the voting was going on?
No, but I was outside it. See, well, everybody, I went to bed on election night. I woke up. There's video all over YouTube. They're trucking in ballots in the middle of the night at the convention center. They stopped the counting in the middle of the night. So I said, well, I'm going to go down and see what happens. So they had us corralled, the Trump guys on the north side, and the BLM had their big disco stadium tour, and all the paid protesters were, screw the white people, screw the bad, screw the police, screw Trump. And this guy, I'll never forget this, Skinny Jeans Latte, as Mike Moore would call him, comes running up to me and goes, "Hey, you stole the election from us. We stole it from you. Fuck you." And I said, well, I guess that's the way it is.
You notice on his hat it says "Stop the Steal."
There you go.
Oh, wow.
That's almost got me arrested.
Really? Just for saying
Well, no,
that?
I'm just kidding. I always exaggerate.
Actually, you've lost a pencil and a.
Okay, I'll go back and get it. I don't care.
Well, thanks for stopping us. Good to meet you.
Excuse me? Okay, thank you. All right,
for
God bless.
stopping
I don't want to interfere with the show. I'm going to cut my name out.
No,
Great.
no, it was
Hope
great.
my friends
Great
see me.
to
God
speak
bless.
with you.
Thanks
Watch you
again.
guys all the time.
Thanks very
Charles,
much.
you're brilliant. You should be governor of New York.
No, thanks. That suspiciously sounds like
Jason
work.
DA, Eastern District. All right, God bless.
Take care.
Don't forget your. Okay, thanks.
On Twitter here.
Well,
All
there
right.
we go, Charles. So that's exactly what I had in mind,
Yeah.
meeting some Philadelphia residents and getting their insights. So yeah, and I also wanted you to see this. But wait, it's totally locked up. The last time I was here,
Well,
you could just walk in.
you might be able to walk in, but you probably have to have an appointment. Although they've covered it over here. This looks pretty damn closed.
Now, isn't that interesting that that's the Star of David
Where?
on the floor, the 6-pointed star? I don't know if I noticed that the last time I was here.
Huh. I don't know. Let's see what this says here. Just a national landmark. So we have various options, Jason. Which way would you like to go?
Well,
We could
let's go. I would like to see where they removed Rizzo. I'm disappointed that they got rid of him.
That was interesting.
Yeah, well, I mean, so this park, as I had recalled, is where they had Rizzo, but I guess no longer.
No Rizzo?
No more Rizzo.
Now we could walk up to 30th Street Station, which is straight that way.
Well, we
Or-
could, whatever you want to do.
Well, no, you tell me.
Well, let's keep looking around at different stuff. I mean, this park, so I guess there's people skateboarding up there. Perhaps
That's
there is
noisy.
a skate park. But let's go see what's going on where Rizzo used to be.
All right. We don't have a light at the moment.
Yeah. Free college and support to succeed. See that sign there?
My hand was frozen when I was signing that guy's autograph.
It's really cold.
Yeah. Probably look at it and it'll say, this guy doesn't know how to write. My hand was rigid. You think that's a printing press?
Yeah. So in the future, there'll be a statue of somebody tweeting, and they'll say, freedom. Because the printing press, that was important for the pamphleteers, right?
Of course. Yeah, how do you think, the people who are trying to cancel everybody who would question authority at this point are probably descendants of the people who tried to put down the revolution in 1776 through 1789.
What did you think about that guy's comments that less people seem to be wearing masks around Philadelphia now?
I think at a certain point you just have enough when you look at the facts. We've been doing this. This is now a year.
I think this was Rizzo.
Huh?
Did this used to be Rizzo here?
No,
Where was he?
down there. Where y'all from?
New York.
New York? I'm from Philly, born and raised here. Me and him just having a good conversation about some of the trouble stuff that's going on here in Philadelphia.
Tell me about it. What is it that you guys see going
I'll
on?
tell you one thing. They're mistreating us, senior citizens in the shelter. I stepped out here. What were we just talking about? How many days I stepped out there?
You were out there
16 days
16
in the
days.
snow.
Sleeping in the snow?
In the fucking snow. They have assaulted me.
Who has?
People that work for the system. I was there, right? I just got out of prison in September. My son killed somebody you ever heard of Station House Shelter?
Right.
At 2600 Lehigh? My son, something happened down there. I heard it was a rape. I don't know. My son ended up killing one of them guys. And he also shot another one in the head 3 times.
Was he a cop?
No. Now what happened was, when I came home, I had to go to the shelter system. What do you think they started doing when they knew who my son was? You know what they did to me. Everything they could.
Why is that? I mean, you would. It's not like Philadelphia is a poor place. You would think that they have enough money
To take care of the
to help.
homeless.
Yeah, to help the homeless.
Well, what I tell you I'm gonna do if I get some money? Donate it back to the system. Help the poor people. Black, white, I ain't no fucking racist. I'm born and raised here. This is my fucking town.
Yeah.
Do I love it? Sometimes no, but sometimes yeah, because this is home. Where else do I know? Where do I go? I admire the people that come out here and feed us, man. I was sleeping in the fucking snow. But God is good. I've been praying and praying. What I tell you, I got a color TV now. I have a room. I don't have any money. I'm trying to sell this stuff so I can get me a couple packs of cigarettes. But guess it's going to be some money coming my way. But what I tell you, I'm going to do with some money.
Have you
Give it
guys
back to the
have you
homeless.
guys observed around town that less people are wearing masks now, or is everybody wearing the masks?
No,
still?
some people aren't wearing them. Some people, they don't care. But we got a big drug population here.
Drug?
People that are on drugs here with heroin, and so I see them. What I tell you, I told them one day, get the fuck up off the ground, white boy. I said, he's a fucking man. Don't let them kill your spirit, man. That's what they're trying to do. God knows they tried to destroy me, threw me on the street, tripped me, hit my head, threw my clothes in the middle of the street.
So who's doing that? Other homeless people? Or
No,
the
no.
police?
Okay, take care, buddy. You be good, man.
You have a good night.
Hey, remember me, man. Man, it's I shed a lot of tears, man. They say he's a mean motherfucker. I said, but I'm a man. Real men do cry. That's a fucking lie when they say real men don't cry. It's bullshit. If you hurt bad enough, you're gonna shed tears. I begged him. I said, Jesus, let me go home. You know what he told me? You're going away, Judge. You did enough work. I said, I've been out here struggling, trying.
Can't you go
I
to like a
said go.
church or something? And
Well, do you have a lot of churches that do good deeds? But nobody wants you when you're down and out. Who really cares about you? Not many people. Half of our people, our families put us out here. Let's say your drug use or whatever you were doing that made them dissatisfied, they turned their back on you. I have my people. I'm gonna show you what happened. I asked my nephew, look here. I'm off the street. I need somebody to take my clothes. They got my clothes down there underneath the hub. I got 3 bags of stuff. I got a ton of wardrobe clothes that I left with somebody.
Hope is that or something over there?
Which that building?
No, well, you said you got your clothes where?
Oh, it's downstairs. But I'm waiting for somebody to take me. I can carry 2 bags and a cart, and I'm gonna take my stuff. I got a room. I got my check. I said, let's party. Party? You lost your fucking mind. I'm on the street freezing. You tell me take my money and party. Party for what? It's not the party about. We're suffering, man.
Yeah.
And you know what I keep telling people? People talk that racist shit. I said, they're fucking white people, black people. If you ain't nobody, they don't give a fuck about you.
Sorry,
They really don't, man. It's a shame. I came up under
So you think
Rizzo.
it's racism or it's classism?
It's the haves against the have-nots. You hit it
Doesn't
right
matter
on
if
the
you're
fucking
black
head.
or white.
No. If you're with us, come on. If you ain't, fuck you. This is what's been going on. I was getting ready to go over there to Mr. Elizabeth. I said, you don't remember me? How about the guy to be out there freezing and it was snowing on him? Y'all came 3 o'clock in the morning, tried to get him to go to the shelter. He refused to go because he's fearful. You got his son locked up. He never getting out again. So let's fuck the father while we're at it. They're doing some shit to me, man. I shed a lot of tears. Hurt emotionally.
Well, listen, I hope things improve for you. Thank you for speaking with us.
Look here, man. What y'all with the news? That's good.
Nah, just
you're doing like a
just
your own personal thing.
Sorry.
It's good. Well, it's a lot of suffering going on in this city now. Like I said, I sit here at church. They said, why does he cry all the time? I said, the shit hurts, man. I'm a fucking man. Look what you're doing to these men, man.
Yeah.
These are the Mars leaders. What is it going to be like if y'all keep on beating them down and destroying them? They're going to become corrupt and crooked.
More corrupt.
Half these motherfuckers are corrupt anyway.
Yeah.
And like I said, there's certain things I don't utter. My brothers are Masons. So I don't want to say too much about them. But they can do more too. But like I said, we in the have-nots. So they say, fuck you too. You ain't nobody.
Well, I hope your luck improves, my friend.
Well,
take care of
I just
yourself.
keep on praying. You might kill me, but you'll never kill this spirit. Because I know where I came from. So where you going?
Sir, when can I find the Bourbon Station?
Right there, see?
Which one?
Have a nice day,
The Bourbon
gentlemen,
Station.
okay?
Okay, you guys take care.
Take care
Thank
of
you.
yourself.
Watch yourself.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Sorry. All right, well, there we go, Charles. Getting some firsthand insights from people on the street there.
Right. Yeah, it's nice. I mean, it's a sad story, but it's one. You know, what I hate are the current crop of, in quotes, public servants who say, we got a problem. Global warming. Give us $93 trillion and don't ask us what we're doing with it.
Yeah.
You know, we got a problem. Homeless people. And then you see this poor guy in the street.
But they're doing nothing.
I mean, I don't know how old he is.
I don't know why he's telling us about his son murdering people. That doesn't sound
It
like...
wasn't like...
Maybe don't lead with that.
Yeah, no, I just got out of prison and my son just killed 2 people.
Sweet, this story is not helping you, buddy.
That's
but
right.
this is where Rizzo was,
Oh, is that right?
and he's gone now.
I don't see him.
Yeah, I mean, so that's just it. It's like...
They canceled him?
Yeah. You know, give us what we want or we'll burn it down, take the statues down, take Rizzo down.
Michael Garner, Eric Brown, burn it down. Can we get out of here? Yeah, I think we can.
Right over there. There's the Pennsylvania Railroad suburban station. I mean, there is something about Philly that feels older than New York.
Well,
And I mean, there's a lot of history here, obviously. That was interesting that guy said his brothers are Masons.
yeah, I think the Masons, I don't know much about it. I started to say I have several books about it. I don't understand what they believe in, what they're organized to do. I think originally it had to do with
Controlling the world.
how to build. Oh, Jesus Christ, guys! Making a snot deposit on the side of the road.
What? I didn't catch
Yeah,
that.
you don't want to catch it. That's a lot of snot.
Here's
Jason.
another view of City Hall.
Yeah, that's a lot of snot. Yeah, what's that over there? Is that 30th Street Station? Big thing. We don't have a light.
I don't think it is.
I think 30th, it might be there.
Well, this is only 15th Street.
Yeah. Well, what we do is we walk. On these walk-arounds, we tend to walk.
Right. Here's a version of that love sign.
That's the Tiffany. That was done by was it under the aegis of Thomas Hoving, I think. Could be
really?
wrong. Yeah, I mean, I suppose you could argue that this is a nice cityscape, but I gotta believe when the wind whips through here,
Yeah,
it's brutal. It's cold enough now.
it's freezing.
It's not windy.
Well, because also, I'm not suited up with my usual thermal underwear and all the stuff that we're normally.
TMI, just TMI.
Well,
Too much information.
I have a couple pairs of socks.
We don't need to know anything more. Nice knit hat you're wearing. That's good. Anyway,
Let's see what comments are saying right now, Charles.
totally free checking. The
So let's
Prudential
see.
Bank.
Have you reached the spot where treason took place yet?
Where-
Oh, well, should we go there to the convention center? I don't know where that is.
We're headed away from it, I think.
I mean, the guy was pointing at it over there.
Yeah, we would run the risk of.
I don't know that it really is that useful to go see it.
We
It's
can
an
go there if
interesting
you want.
building, isn't it, with the arch? Well, let's just keep walking this way. I mean, we might head back this way. Oh, we got to get back to the car eventually.
You do.
That's true.
I'm teasing. I'll go. definitely walk back with you. But now we know at least where 30th Street Station is. Oh, there's a little bit more activity, but this is kind of desolate for a major city.
Bart says Masons are pieces of dog crap.
Talking about some of my ancestors, if you don't mind. That's okay.
So this is the suburban station for the
Yeah.
Pennsylvania Railroad.
That's to go, I think, in the old days, if you wanted to go out to the main line, the suburbs, I think that this used to be the station that you would use. I don't know if it's still the station, or it's kind of like the difference between Grand Central Station and Penn Station in New York City. There's more of that Jefferson Health over there.
Oh, someone says, is the Rocky statue Rizzo? No, Rizzo was the mayor. They took down the Rocky statue?
I don't know about that.
Is Rocky racist? Because he was only fighting black guys?
He-
He fought the white guy in Rocky IV, and also he was friends with Apollo Creed and then trained his son.
Well,
Rocky's not racist.
they'd probably replace it with Bullwinkle.
Bullwinkle's definitely racist.
Why is Bullwinkle racist?
He's a bull. Or no, he's a moose.
Moose and squirrel.
I don't know if that was ever explained why it wasn't Moosewinkle. Regional rail lines, yeah. Walk down JFK Boulevard until 22nd Street. Where is JFK Boulevard?
What are we on now?
People say it's getting sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah, it is getting a little sunnier.
It's always a little sunny in Philadelphia.
Would you say this is Art Deco?
Yeah.
You can imagine back in, say, 1920, 1910, 1930, the Depression. Would say that in the go-go 20s, 1923 or 4 or something like that. I bet you this was hopping. You want a wool hat?
I got one. Well, when would you say Philadelphia was like at the height of its whatever?
I don't want to insult the good people of Philadelphia, Jason. I don't know. I mean, I would say when you go back into Barack Obama likes to talk about the arc of history. It really isn't an arc. Especially when you go back before the Federal Reserve, there were quite a few credit crises, and I mean like major crises, things that put the '29 Depression to shame.
Right.
Yeah, and so I don't know Philadelphia history well enough to tell you when it would be in the modern.
This
drop-off.
location does not accept COVID drop-off tests.
Well, I will remember that.
People are trying to drop off their COVID tests.
Until the end of January or beginning of February.
I agree with that guy's assessment as we walk around. We are seeing perhaps more than New York people without masks.
Here's the Comcast Center.
Huh, you're right. So what is that other building?
Now I'm beginning to get.
Well, I definitely had a meeting with Comcast in that building. I think Comcast owns basically everything around here.
All right, this is JFK Boulevard, 1701. So we're on.
Oh.
You're saying to go to 22nd Street?
Yeah,
That may be where.
that's where we're heading.
May be what we're doing. Yeah, this actually. I like the fact that this avenue is wider than, for example, Fifth Avenue. This is quite wide, right?
It's luxurious.
Yeah. Corner bake.
Uptown here, Charles,
Yeah.
according to that sign. Well, what else is happening in the news? Oh yeah, you know what I wanted to talk about?
What's that?
Well, you tell me if we want to talk about this, but a lot of people have been sending me emails, Charles. They're upset that I basically called Mike Lindell
Right.
and tried to tell him that Mary Fanning is a liar and that he is causing a problem by spreading stupidity.
Well, let's talk about that. That's a good topic. First, let's give a shout out to our guest who was on several times, and we'll have him back on, Larry Johnson,
Yeah.
who did a very good piece in Gateway Pundit.
Yes.
Pundit just obliterating Mary Fanning
With facts.
With facts.
And logic. And when you read what he says and look at what she's presented,
Right.
what he says is irrefutable.
Right, and he actually turned to. I think he may have added the name of another security expert he ran this by. I mean, he is a security expert, but he had somebody else look at it too, and they just noted all these anomalies. And I don't know. I'm not competent enough to say that what they're saying with precision makes sense, but I just didn't like the thin case approach of
That Mary Fanning took.
that Mary Fanning took in any way, shape, or form. And when she trotted out this long, this pile of table that purported to have all these intrusions, I mean, that's an old trick people used to use when they.
Tons of data.
Yeah,
How do we know if any of it's accurate? By the way, that's exactly what the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office determined Dennis Montgomery did to them, and also an important reason why I like to talk about information as evidence rather than proof.
Right. So in the case of Mary Fanning, I think that's, we don't need to really listen to her much. Apparently, Johnson was telling me that they got into quite a shouting match, which I guess that happens a
Who
lot.
got
with
in the shouting match?
Larry Johnson and Mary Fanning.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And because Mary
When
Fanning,
was that?
a while back, Mary Fanning called to complain about something that Johnson had said, and tried to claim that she was working with people like Paul Vallely and Dennis McInerney. What did Larry Johnson know about anything? And Larry
Right.
had to say, well, actually, those guys at the top don't really get into the detail. I'm the guy who did the detail. And
Right,
big back
so
and
those
forth.
guys are
Right.
two liars who Mary Fanning relies on all the time.
But my interaction with Paul Vallely has been good. I don't know. I don't know what you had.
I haven't spoken to him.
Yeah, but Montgomery, I don't think is all that impressive at all. And frankly, he's dangerous. And I think McInerney is past his prime. I mean, maybe at one point he made valuable contributions, but he's way out of his element here. Anyway, on Lindell.
Well, but before you get off of Larry Johnson, even if anybody doubts his credentials, because that's something else that I noticed that people like to do. I like this person or that person. Who the hell are you?
Mm-hmm.
You can't say anything about Mike. You can't say anything about this or that. He's talking about, like, he noticed details on the Excel spreadsheet. It was called Sheet 1.
Right.
However, when Excel names the thing Sheet 1,
The next one will be
there's
2.
no space.
Right.
It's Sheet 1 connected.
Right.
This was Sheet space 1.
Right.
So that seems like somebody trying to forge a document and making an error.
And then also the next page was also sheet 1 or something like that.
So, I mean,
Yeah. But
he's-
there was much more. They're more profound.
Yes.
I think that one time I stayed in that place, Penn Center House.
yeah, and I didn't mean to indicate that that was the best piece of evidence that he had, but he's raising these points that just, totally clarify my point, which was she's presented this evidence, but how do we know that it's authentic
Right.
evidence? You say it's proof, Mike Lindell, but it's not proof. It's just a document that contains evidence, and until we can learn more about the source of the evidence.
Right. Well, so on the subject of Mike Lindell, I used to watch a lot of Fox before it became known as Faux, F-A-U-S.
Right.
But and I
pillow.
noticed that these My Pillow ads. I'm like, how many freaking pillows are people
You
going to
were
want
the first person to tell me about it. I never heard of
Yeah.
it until you mentioned it.
And then I started noticing other ads. But on the subject of My Pillow, I actually, after you and I talked yesterday in the morning, I started saying, I'm going to do just a quick dive into it. So I found several studies that said the total market for pillows of all types globally is $14 billion.
It's a lot.
Well, but
A year?
But that's the total market. There are pillows that are used in hotels. There are pillows that are
That's
used
true.
in homes. There are pillows that are used on couches versus beds, and
Right.
so you divide all that stuff up. And then there's pillows
I
that
feel
are
like we're moving away
well.
from...
There's
Oh.
30th Street Station.
Okay.
And the person said it. Go to 22nd Street. We could go.
20th. Let's keep going.
Okay.
So $14 billion worth of
The
pillows.
total market. This guy's got a company that supposedly sells 300 million a year. And you say, oh, wait a minute. Is that number real? If there are 2,500 employees and you're selling $300 million worth of stuff, what is the margin on all that? What's the real addressable market? How much do these pillows go for? And I started thinking about it and scratching out numbers, and I basically call bullshit on
the
this
entire
story.
Mike Pillow
Yeah, I don't think
operation.
if you start looking into it, there's several articles, including one that's meant to be complimentary, but I think the title of the article is "The Implausible Story of Mike Lindell" or something like that. And it talks about how he may have started this pillow company in 2004 or 5, but he only got a patent applied for in 2008, November, shortly after Barack Obama had been elected president, and shortly before Hillary Clinton accepted being Secretary of State. That patent was granted in 2009, early in 2009, a very quick turnaround.
Well, let me say something quickly about that patent, because I was looking at this yesterday. It was applied for in like October or November of 2008. And yeah, really quickly he got it. When I've applied for patents, it always takes more than a year.
Right.
And also, the patent itself is ridiculous. I never knew anything about My Pillow, and when you hear something is patented, in order for it to be patented,
Right.
it's got to be novel, meaning something new that nobody has done before. So if you somehow imbued a pillow with antimicrobial silver or...
It's something I would do, yeah.
Well, I mean, at least it would be new. I don't know
Right.
that exists, but this patent is for 3 different sizes of foam pieces, and the illustration is so stupid, I encourage people to look it up. It's like small pieces, medium pieces, and large pieces, and that's the patent.
Right.
It doesn't seem like something you should have been able to get a patent for.
Right. And so if it's a private, in the United States, if this company is still a private company, then you have no real ability to get financial information about the company. There's no obligation of a private company to provide financial statements to the public unless that private company gets involved issuing public debt or certain other things. You may have to provide some financial information. So we have no ability from the outside to know whether the thing really made $300 million in revenue per year or not. But when you start looking at critics of Mike Lindell, he was rated an F by the Better Business Bureau.
Really?
Which is not typically a good sign.
No, and
Unless,
Span Man told us he bought one of those pillows, had an issue with it, and when he tried to return it, they hung up on him and blocked his phone number.
Right. So we start with this business, and we say, okay, when you order by phone or by internet something that's always on sale, right, and you get buy one get one free, I think it's the Better Business Bureau contested, or somebody contested, state of California legal actions contested the offer. You know, if you're always on sale, you can't say pay the full price and I'll give you a second one free, and argue that, you know, the discount is appropriate, right?
Because it's all just deceptive language.
It's all discounted. So you're really, to give you a simple example, if it was $60 as the full price, but you're always effectively selling it at $30, you're just asking people to buy 2 pillows
Right.
at $30, and they're not getting anything for free, right? And so I call bullshit on that.
This math works much better if you're smoking crack.
Exactly, yeah. And look, I will. The part of the story that I have great sympathy for, and we'll get to a modification of this comment in a second, is it is tough as hell, I am told, to go from crack to anything normal. I mean, crack is a very, very destructive, all-consuming drug. And oftentimes folks who get involved with that have deep underlying psychological, psychiatric problems. So I give him enormous chops if he indeed had been on crack, and if he indeed managed to stay on crack and cocaine and drinking and gambling while he was running this pillow company. But because
you're commending him for staying on crack?
No, being able to do all that. I mean, it's not crack. He tells a story to various people, and in his book, which is self-published,
right,
and therefore not edited, not necessarily vetted, that I think he cites the date January 16th, 2009 as the date that he decided that he wanted to rid himself of crack, and he just quit cold turkey on one day. And I call bullshit on that.
Don't you die if you do that?
I call bullshit on that. I don't think you could do that. So, but anyway.
Maybe he was smoking turkey.
Or drinking wild turkey. But I think the warning signs, we've talked about it before, when you have multiple similar sounding charities, which is what he's gotten into now, the Lindell Foundation, Inc., the Lindell Recovery Network,
right,
the Lindell Outreach thing, all of which are supposedly helping people with drug treatment. They're all operating, 2 of the 3 I think at least are operating from the same address, which is the headquarters of My Pillow. And there's all kinds of overlap between the Lindell Foundation, Inc. and politics in Minnesota, where he's from, and with his My Pillow company and family members. And this particular Lindell Foundation, Inc. charity purports to be a public charity. And a public charity cannot be controlled by a family. He's on the board of it with 5 other people who are all connected to him politically or through other charities, and with his chief of staff on the board, I think either on the board or executive director or both, and the chief of staff is his niece. You know, so I start looking through, and the numbers are approximate, and none of it's small beer stuff. I mean, it's not like the Clinton Foundation, not as big as the Clinton Foundation, but I just call bullshit on the 3 charities, and one of them, this Lindell Recovery Network, is a charity that purports to have a system that Mike developed to help people go off drug addiction and other addictions. And it's a system that he then tries to twin or pair with churches and other support organizations. And last I checked, Mike Lindell does not have an MD, you know, or frankly any real credentials in education that were earned. And I just think it's, knowing what I know about people who've gone through these treatment programs, it's among the thorniest problems you can you generally find, because the people who are prone to getting into trouble are very smart in the main, sometimes very troubled, often very troubled, and you're relying on what they tell you. You know, you ask them a question and you want to seek treatment. Yes, I do. And you ask them questions. Yes, you can test them for the presence of drugs and alcohol. But when you're relying on what somebody tells you to form a treatment approach.
Not that precise.
It's not, yeah. And then to go and say that his approach is going to be much cheaper at $2,500 a month than $30,000 to $40,000 a month. I mean, I think it needs to be really stress tested. And any time somebody wears their philanthropic activities on their sleeves and is also trying to sell you a MyPillow,
Right.
you know, you gotta stand back and say, I believe in Islam and in Judaism, there is.
You're not supposed to say when you give charity.
Well, because it makes the person who receives it feel vulnerable or
Right.
lessened, or it's not truly a gift if you're getting something out of it.
Right.
And so I think the whole Mike Lindell story is, both on business and certainly in the charity land, is something that needs to be studied carefully. And here he is, a big supporter of Donald Trump. All you people out there say, oh, Charles and Jason, you only go against Democrats. I mean,
Well, no, people are now mad that we're going against Mike Lindell. And I just want to clarify for those people, I didn't tell Charles to look into this. I didn't tell Charles I don't like Mike Lindell, so let's bang on him during the show. Well, I don't like him now that he was acting like a jerk on the phone and that he's, thinking Mary Fanning is somebody who he should promote. I think he's making a fool out of himself. And look, when I called him, Charles, I legitimately called him because I wanted to provide this information. I honestly don't care about helping Mike Lindell. Mike Lindell doesn't need my help. He's got a ton of money and
we don't know that. He could well have a ton. Look,
I'm not going to sit here and tell people that I'm reaching out to Mike Lindell because I want to help Mike Lindell. I did it because I felt that the information that he was bringing forward was going to hurt the president. And I think if Donald Trump gets convicted, it just builds the momentum that all of these crooked criminals in Congress are using to convict their political opponents. And they're going to start with Trump.
Right.
And I think that you and I and people like us are somewhere on that list. So I contacted Mike Lindell because I think what he's doing is damaging.
Sure. Well, and so, back on his story and the plausible nature of it, I haven't spent more than, say, a couple, 3 hours looking through what's out there. I haven't bought his book, which I will do. But he discusses how it came to him. First of all, it came to him in a dream that he should create MyPillow. Yeah, and he repeats the story about he was feverishly writing down on a piece of paper in his kitchen, MyPillow, MyPillow, MyPillow. When a daughter came and saw him, and he tried to explain it to her, but he was in a manic state, and the daughter said, "Well, that's kind of random, Dad." That story.
What is special about the pillow?
I don't think there's anything special about it. I don't think we can
Three
go in.
different sizes of phone.
Well,
are we going in here now? Or
I don't think you can without a mask. So we can just walk back this next street down, which appears to have a lot of stuff, because it's already 4:20.
Oh, well, you know what that means, Charles.
I do, actually.
Well, okay, so there's nothing special about the pillow.
Right, but then he tells a story about he came up with this idea. He tried one infomercial, and it was scripted, and it didn't work. So he couldn't do the scripted version, so he just talked to the screen, and it was a very, it's like, all right, I'll buy the pillow. I'll buy two if you stop talking. He's just so insistent. You got to buy his pillow.
It's a crackhead sales tag.
With his patented fill, whatever that is. And
well, the patented fill is the 3 different size pieces of foam.
Right. Why was it patented, though? But anyway.
Well, I want to address that just for a second. And this is my speculation, but if you were, I don't know, the CIA or something like it, and you had tons of black money from doing illegal operations, you would need to launder it, right? So maybe if you created a false pillow company and got a crackhead to be the front man and patented it so you could make a commercial saying, oh, this pillow is patented, and then you somehow ram it through the patent office because you have crooked people at your
beck and call.
Yeah, and then what are they doing with it? He's advertising on Fox News. Well, that's a great way to send money to Fox News.
Right.
And get them to talk about what you want.
So that's a hypothesis.
This is cool. That's a hypothesis. That's just my speculation, but
well, this is pretty.
How do you like that eagle?
Medium rare.
Rotisserie eagle? So, okay, you were about to tell us more.
In the various tellings, he does many interviews, and so I forget if this is from his book or an interview, but it's more or less the same story again and again. He signs up to get all these infomercials. He actually buys up all the infomercial space on, I think, Fox or something for a year, and he's running this stuff nonstop, and he's selling so many pillows. He doesn't,
How could you talk about it for more than 30 seconds?
Well, the ads are on. If you watch, I haven't watched Fox in a while now, but if you watch Fox, the ads are, there's the My Pillow, there's the bent crank ad, there's all these crazy ads. But he tells the story of how he was too successful, he got too much revenue, and we know that to be the case. We know, those of us who've been involved in business, if you have rapid growth in a business, but you don't have working capital, that is cash in the bank, you're going to get in serious trouble if you don't control your costs, if you don't know how much, there's a difference between making one My Pillow and selling it $60, and the real cost is probably $820 per pillow, and then selling thousands or tens of thousands or more. And so he tells the story of how he didn't, his company was plagued with debt, and he booked these ads, and suddenly he was convinced he was going to sell a lot of My Pillows. So he convinced the Federal Foam Technologies or something, this company, which does exist.
What?
I checked it out.
Federal Foam Technology?
Something like that.
Okay.
No, it's a real company. To sell him more foam that he could cut into 3 different sets and put into the pillow and this and that.
Why do they need to be convinced? Aren't they just in the business of selling foam?
No, and that's just crap. I mean, in my experience, successful companies, and Federal Foam is, if it is, that's the right name. I may have it not precisely correct. But those type of companies, they've heard these stories time and again, and a crackhead walks into the bar and says, give me a lot of credit for my pillow. I think I'm going to sell out the whole goddamn plant, and I want all this credit. You say, okay, I'll give you $3.2 million of credit if you give me $6.4 million.
So wait, so the foam company gives him some huge line of credit?
Right. Well, that's what allows him to buy foam, and in essence, not credit but terms. You don't have to pay cash up front. You don't have to pay within 30 or 60 or 90 or whatever days. We'll run a receivable. And in my experience, that seldom happens.
Right.
And because people know the sobs. It's sort of like when you go into a bar and you see across the bar it says, cash only.
Right.
Right, for a reason.
Right. You get drunk, forget how much you drank. You're like, I didn't drink all that much.
Right. Yeah. It's just
it's a fight.
I mean, even somebody who has the will to get off crack is not somebody who probably has the fortitude to repay a bill reliably. And you're taking a massive business risk. So, look, I hope I'm wrong. I hope that there's that this is true. Mike's just sloppy and he doesn't have an attention span to be organized, and maybe he's got learning disability or some other issue. But from what I see so far, anytime I see a business intermixed with charities, I get very suspicious. And then when I look up and I try to find the filings that should exist for these 3 charities, and I don't see them. And then when I see him on the air talking about his charities and not registering to solicit for them in New York and other places,
that's illegal.
I get, my hackles go up. Poor guy.
Well, and it's always interesting, Charles, when I speak to somebody and just say, well, gee, that's weird. Because a lot of people are saying, oh, he probably doesn't like it that you called him out of nowhere, and, he's under pressure and everything. But I think that what people might have missed in the very beginning seconds of that phone call is that Mike had called me back.
Right.
I called him, and he was on the phone, so it rang through to his assistant. So she answered, and I spoke to her, and she explained to me that he's on the phone, and so it rings through to her phone. She spoke with me for several minutes.
Did you get her name?
Her name...
was it Cronin?
I think it was Sharon, because I think I said it to him in the phone call. I don't remember it right now. But the point is, she listened politely and intently and seemed quite intrigued by what I was saying and said she would give him the message and that he'd call back if he was interested. Then,
You call back.
well, right, but almost immediately, because it seemed like she wouldn't have even had time
To
to
summarize
convey
it, yeah.
the message to him. And he says, somebody just called me from this number. And I say, well, thank you for calling back. So if somebody is so busy, like Charles, you get calls on your phone from people who you don't know who they are, as do I. I don't call those people back.
You don't?
No, because I don't want to talk to people who I don't know,
Right,
as he
same.
claimed in our phone call. So why did he call me back? And also, I did calm him down for enough time to be able to start explaining it to him, where I think
Right.
the thing that I said that got him to listen was, look, I'm trying to help you. I just want to share this information. You're free to discard it if you don't like it,
Right.
or take it and put it into your calculation. And he said, okay, go ahead. Because in my mind, whatever he was or wasn't in the past, if he is now somebody who's running a company worth $300 million,
In
that's
revenue.
the type of person who's got to be thoughtful enough that they can listen to what someone is saying,
Right.
evaluate it, and act on it. And this guy that I was speaking to on the phone just seemed like an erratic crackhead who couldn't listen for more than 5 seconds before flying off the handle.
Well, so sometimes people in the situation that he's in, remember last year during COVID, he switched the production of his plant to face masks.
It's opportunistic, isn't
Right,
it?
and did he get a PPE loan? We don't know. But sometimes people like him, who may or may not be all that financially sophisticated and accustomed to following the rules, I mean, somebody who,
Crack is a little outside the lines, yeah.
well, just elements of his background suggest he's not the person to say, well, I better look at the instructions here very carefully in the
Yes.
law and the regulations
make sure
of the
I'm in
court president.
compliance with the crack guidelines.
But if he's a gifted storyteller and can pound the table till you buy one of those damn pillows, what he might be good at is going from place to place to place, getting credit and
Tell
building
me
up a
story.
business, getting money, and taking that money not necessarily for the business, and being in a perpetual state of needing money.
Right.
And that is a business model that I've seen very well-known people succumb to. I mean, Marvin Davis, for example, the famed supposed billionaire who bought 20th Century Fox with Rupert Murdoch.
Oh, yes.
One of his sons is a friend of mine from business school, and a good guy.
Wow, something smells delicious. Is it
Dunkin'
that?
Donuts,
No, it smells like meat.
Faux Street.
It smells like steak. Anyway,
But Marvin Davis had this gigantic persona. He was actually also a gigantic individual. Could be that.
fine wine.
And he was always listed as a billionaire, and he lived large. He had a 727.
Really, to throw people out the back.
I don't know about that, but his business partner in the oil and gas drilling business blew up. Literally blew up.
Wow.
And he switched, I forget if you put the key in the ignition in the cars,
Oh,
smithereens or whatever. But Marvin, everyone thought he was a billionaire until he died. And
And it turns out he was a sham.
he was like bankrupt. He had borrowed way more in debt than he had. He looted his kids' trust somehow.
You know, the other thing, Charles, when I was looking up Mike Lindell, the resource that I used to find him has an additional option where you can search for criminal convictions. And although I haven't gone to the court website,
Right. To confirm it,
it did have a conviction listed on there for domestic abuse. And there are a number of other articles that have been written that include statements from affidavits given by his ex-wives in which they claim they're afraid of him,
right.
and that one of them he apparently kicked in the back and broke her ribs. So Mike Lindell does not appear to be a very nice
Right.
guy. I don't know why people just automatically
Well-
like somebody because they say they support Donald Trump or QAnon or somebody that they like.
Well, it's a classic. You see, it fits the classic mold, the business model for fraud. You know, you have people will willingly suspend their disbelief. You know, if they don't want to
If
store.
you say, "Oh, I love Jesus,"
Well,
or,
yeah, I mean,
Trump,"
I'm
or
a
whatever.
reformed crackhead. I'm a
Right.
reformed alcoholic. and I'm standing over here with a severed head. Just ignore this thing that and
Well,
give
but
me
the
some
reason
money.
they say that is because if somebody has had that problem in their life or
Right.
someone in their family, they're immediately going to feel sympathy for that person.
Right. You walk
Kid on
your
a
children
leash.
on a leash. It's barbaric. No, it really is. I mean,
I agree. I don't like that. But I think, Charles, that happens a lot. That people will, you always hear about those guys who create the super churches and get money from people and
Right.
just steal the money
or if it sounds too good to be true, chances are it's false. I mean, that's just everyone ought to have that. Like when you get up in the morning, or maybe when you're having your coffee or tea or whatever you have first, it ought to be right there in front of you, and your wallet ought to be hanging, or your purse ought to be hanging right underneath it. So you have to reach up and make
and
sure
see
you read
that
it.
sign
Right. If
before
it
you-
sounds too good to be true, it's false. And the Madoff thing is an example. There just was another mini Madoff, only 1.8 billion.
Wow.
Just the guy was charged.
We got some double maskers here.
Well, that's because Tony Fraudy just announced that the CDC is going to mandate double masking.
What?
Yep. Yeah.
So they still don't have a study that shows that one mask does anything.
Yeah.
But
Well,
now
it's-
they want two.
over in Ireland, they pronounce idiot, Egypt, not idiot. But I mean, this guy Fauci and the people who follow him are idiots. At this stage.
Double mask. Double mask. Just don't know.
Especially if you think about it, you trot this garden gnome out at the various things, and he's always got, he's one of these people who will answer any question posed to him. Doesn't matter what it is. You think Meryl Streep was good in this movie? Oh yeah, I think so, right?
I'm trying to get my pasta al dente. Any suggestions, Dr. Fauci? Well, of course, you want to make sure the water is salted.
Should I put margarine or butter or
Never
olive
use
oil?
margarine. Always use butter or ghee. Next question.
Yeah. Oh boy. Not supposed to laugh
And
during the show.
Pam, do not use Pam any spray cooking oil. Goes rancid quite easily.
Yeah. How do I verify, Dr. Fauci, whether the meat that I'm eating in Korea is actually beef?
Well, we're getting different information out of Korea. He's the guy, you're right, he's always got something to say. He's one of these people, and then someone leaves the dinner like, oh, he's brilliant. Really, everything that idiot just said was nonsense.
But he's a doctor.
We didn't stop talking.
That's right.
Must have been good.
He's the highest paid guy in
It's like
government.
Mary Fanning's list. She's like, this is a list of the IP address and the letter Y. That means yes. They tried to attack the firewall. Oh my God, the firewall. Mary Fanning, you're brilliant.
Yeah, I'm sitting there and
Wow. I think he should have had the crack pipe bubbling like right next to him. This is just so stupid. Wow. Yeah, this is absolute proof. Yeah, so people
Sad.
got very hung up on me making a distinction between the use of the word proof and
but-
the use of the word evidence.
But just back on Fauci
Yeah.
for a second, as we haven't finished skewering him.
Sorry.
I mean, in Fauci's case, here's a guy who made a complete hash, in my view, of the initial efforts to combat HIV and AIDS.
Oh yeah.
Right? He took too long to allow people to experiment with generic drugs. He did not. Maybe you're smelling Ruth's.
Yeah,
Chris.
I was just looking at that actually.
Yeah. He took too long to allow generics in. He and our medical apparatus allowed drugs to be administered to HIV patients that killed them, actually.
What was that one called? AZT.
AZT, well, quite a few. So this guy, A, has not covered himself in glory fighting HIV and AIDS,
Right.
and B, he has been in charge for a long time of having a plan to deal with the pandemic, and now to say Trump doesn't have a plan.
Yeah.
Dude, it was your responsibility.
Oh well, yes, but
That's why you're the highest paid guy in government. Government.
yeah.
Careful here.
Oh boy. This This guy might be the all-time winner.
He might.
10 Penn Center.
Right. This guy lives at 10 Penn Center, sadly. We want to get to
Here's
his...
another closed Starbucks.
Yeah, quite a few in the city. New York City.
That guy is aggressively
Yeah,
following.
well, let's go over here.
Yeah.
Quickly. And let's cross the street, even though
Yeah.
we should.
That's called setting the moving pick on the homeless dude. He's a nicely dressed
Poor guy. I mean,
canine.
again, I feel so. See, here's the Bank of New York Mellon Center,
Oh yeah.
right? The Tomato Bank.
So. And there's Fidelity with the pyramid and the capstone.
Where?
Right
Oh
there.
yeah, Fidelity. They're good for if you want to own funds.
But I mean, isn't the pyramid with the capstone a totally Masonic, all-seeing eye?
You're an expert on that stuff.
It is.
Yeah. Okay.
There's the
So-
post office wearing just one mask. Perhaps
Right.
he'll get fined.
But so going back on Dr. Fraudy, I mean,
Yeah.
I just don't understand. I mean, how stupid do these people think we are? I mean, you bring a guy. I mean, it was what I think I told the story before, but maybe new viewers and listeners don't know about this. In 1993, I think it was, there was a company called Guinness Pete Aviation, GPA, which was a large leasing company.
P-E.
G is God, P, A, GPA, Guinness Pete Aviation. It was an Irish-based company that specialized in buying aircraft and then leasing them to airlines. And it was filled with a whole bunch of financial sharpshooters who, as financial sharpshooters will, can get into great difficulty when they borrow too much money. So they borrowed a whole bunch of money. Prince Walid of Saudi Arabia had just rescued Citibank. And his top guy inside Kingdom Holdings was my ex-brother-in-law, Brick Bushman. And this is Brick and I were talking. He actually called me. He said, you know, now that we've done the Citibank deal, we want to be known as the people you call when you need $100 million or more in 48 hours. So,
Hey, Charles.
you know, my Irish friends called me up and said, listen, here's what's going on at GPA. And it's got way too much debt, but it's got these valuable assets, and nobody trusts them, the management. But if we could get a real person in, like Prince Walid, to rescue it
People trust Prince Walid?
at that time, because he'd rescued Citibank, and he was famous and young, and
Nobody knew what a scumbag he was.
I would be careful. How difficult he can be in business is what I would say. But anyway, so we lit on the idea of basically having Walid, Kingdom Holdings, put together a deal where they were prepared to backstop the debt, and we felt that we could probably buy the company for nothing because we would free a whole bunch of collateral by that act. And who are we competing against? GE. And so
This is before you were looking at GE.
yeah, exactly. So and the deal was, Brick came to New York and signed an engagement letter, pay our firm potentially tens of millions of dollars if the thing came together in 1993. And on that basis, we paid for Concorde tickets for like 5 people to go across London and then down to Riyadh and this meeting, and we're sitting in there, and Walid comes in, and he said, it was actually a comedic figure. I mean, he comes to this conference room, and he says, and I won't do the accent or whatever, but he said, before we get started, I want to get my lawyer on the line. It was like, you know, let's call it 5 p.m. in Riyadh. And this guy, the lawyer, was in San Francisco.
Oh my God.
So it's really early in the morning. And
Why wouldn't he bring the lawyer there?
because
for the meeting?
you'll get a sense. He phone rings, and the guy's sleepy voice, I forget the lawyer's name. He goes, let's say his name is Mohammed. Mohammed, are you there? And the guy said, yeah. Are you tired?
Because he's calling him in the middle of the night.
Well, we'll just sit on this call for 3 to 4 hours. Is that okay? You know, so we sit on this call, and
Wow.
then the GPA guys insisted on having the GPA had gone bankrupt actually. The GPA head of strategy Dr. So-and-so insisted on giving this
Best way to go
presentation.
bankrupt.
Give
is
me
this.
this presentation to Waleed, and he's sitting there with the worry beads or whatever, and, the full outfit,
Uh-huh.
and a bunch of his people are there. And after a while, he says, "Excuse me, Charles, come with me." And we go into his main office, and he had then, I think, the Donald Trump's yacht. He had a scale replica.
Yeah, he bought it from Trump.
It was right there in the middle
and
of his
it was Khashoggi's yacht
Right.
before Trump got it.
Right, so there it is. And he goes, "Charles, sit down over here." And he sits down. "You want a coffee?" No coffee. He said, "Why am I listening to an idiot who turned GPA into a bankrupt entity tell me about what he thinks he wants to do with GPA? I don't give a shit what he thinks."
Yeah.
It was actually
Well,
pretty
that's
funny.
valid at least.
It was pretty funny. And then, so he liked the idea and proceeded to say, "Well, now he turned to me and said, 'Well, that's a great idea. Thanks for the tip.' I think that's the way back to."
Well, there's the Mason Hall.
Oh, you want to go that way?
But
Okay.
I mean, isn't that the way back? 'Cause we approach this thing from this
okay.
direction, I think. I mean, I'm not the person to ask about directions. Oh, I think we just lost battery. Hang on.
We may lose life if we don't cross the street
No,
here.
I got it back. I have an external battery that it doesn't kick in until.
Now watch these guys
And
here.
what do you think about a giant?
Paperclip. Now here's Penn Medicine again. I thought it was down that way. I'm
Yes.
pretty sure it's that way, but.
Well, we can go that way.
So, the moral of the story is that, anyway, so then he says to me, "Well, Charles, I like this idea and suggestion. You can compete for the business."
Right. You told me that.
And I'm like, "That's not the way it's going to work." And so, when he screwed me over, I just called up a bunch of people and said, "Listen, you can go work for this guy. I brought him the idea, and he said he had hired us, but he wouldn't honor the engagement letter. And you may spend a lot of time on this, and he might not pay you. So nobody would represent him." And
Well done.
GE bought it, and it was one of GE's biggest success stories until they fucked up in 2008. It was a really successful acquisition.
So GE
GE
beat Waleed out of it.
Oh, absolutely. And then the last laugh was on GE because at the core of their financial problems in GE Capital was GPA.
Wow. That's pretty ironic. So,
It is.
So did that deal lead to you investigating GE?
No, not at all.
Wow.
I mean, saying investigating GE would be like if you were going to Hollywood and you wanted to be on a traditional track of, understanding who people controlled Hollywood, getting on their right side, trying to get an Academy Award or whatever, and you thought to talk to Steven Spielberg. It's like, yeah, of course I think, GE was held out back in the day as the number one amazing story of all time.
Right.
Again, note to self, when it sounds too good to be true,
Probably is.
it's probably false.
It's interesting, Charles. An aspect of Philadelphia that I'm noticing is that you have like buildings that look like entire banks, and then it's like Del Frisco's restaurant.
Yeah, I think pretty sure we should go that way.
Sure.
Where do you see? Oh, Del Frisco's. Yeah, that was the Pennsylvania Company of Insurance. It's insurances of lives and granting annuities. So a life insurance company.
That's a hell of a name.
Today it's Del Frisco.
Yeah.
It's the Pennsylvania Company of Steaks and Expensive Cocktails that nobody's going to because it's closed.
Whoops. Yeah, it's looking more and more like New York over here.
Right. Only worse.
Things for lease. Well, we've covered a lot in today's show.
We have.
We've been just about an hour. Here's a film center that I'm not very familiar with.
The Philadelphia film. Well, we talked about, we didn't compliment the art department, and the art department again has done a fantastic job with the poster. That show, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, if you're looking, I watch television to kind of cleanse my mind of the ugly reality that we live,
Yeah.
and principally to watch either thrillers or comedy. And that is one sick and twisted funny show.
It's funny, yeah.
It's like everything that could possibly go wrong with a family, a hypothetical family, goes wrong in that show. Yeah, remember we came to Broad Street,
Yes.
and I think we just
Capitol Grill is
keep
right
going
there.
that way.
So a lot of things about Philadelphia that kind of remind me of DC. I mean, I guess it's pretty close.
What, crooked mayor?
Right.
That guy we ran into on the bike was joking about moving to Iowa, but at certain points in time in the evolution of countries, it does make sense to change your. Let's just say, it does make sense to switch, and Brazil did it.
Switch? What do you mean switch?
Switch. You know, a country evolves, and you get this swamp in Washington D.C. where it's impossible to get anything done because there aren't two parties. There's one party, and they figured out the grift. They figured out that you can borrow as much money as you need to fund the operations of this government at present, and that nobody's going to check and see what actually happened to the money, so you can steal to your heart's content, cover yourselves with awards and honors because you're the honorable so-and-so. I mean, I think some of these people, it should be, instead of calling the honorable XYZ, it should be called inmate, 6539.
But what did Brazil do? Made Brasilia or Lula
Yeah.
was?
Rio, I think, was the capital, and they switched to Brasilia. In fact, that was a project that was, I know your eyes are gonna roll in your head, but that was a project that was actually suggested by an ancestor of mine in Brazil. Truly.
I think
he was the
Brasilia-
justice minister of Brazil.
Well, also, Charles, people are
There
going
we
to
go.
accuse you of setting this up because now we're walking right by one of my favorite restaurants, Fogo de Chao,
Yeah.
Churrascaria Extraordinaire.
And is this a topless steakhouse?
It's a churrascaria. So they have a million different types of.
They're great.
How can that place stay in business? Because the whole premise of this place is that it's so big
Yeah.
and there's so much food.
What did he
Is that
say?
a fan or what?
I don't know.
No, I think that guy thought the camera was pointed at him.
He said something about Philly.
Yeah, so he's trying to just do a shout out. I don't know, we're having some problem here with the. Let me just reset this for 1 second. Sorry.
Sure. You need me to hold something?
No. It's a little out of balance. It's not
Oh,
turned
that's.
back.
You see across the street there's the inviting sign in the middle of February to reserve your tent today.
Tent for what?
Sit outside in the freezing cold. Ideally, don't come on
Let's say that for a
Wednesday when we
second.
expect Thursday when we expect a big snowstorm.
What kind of tent are they wanting us
Guy,
to do?
this is includes a private TV and theater heater and a MyPillow
Oh wow! So is that for
to go to tradesman's whatever barbecue.
private TV in here? Yeah. Wow.
Watch your.
It's just a barbecue. I thought it would be. I mean, that would be perfect for Super Bowl Sunday if you want to sit outside in a tent and be cold.
All right.
Wow.
Women's.
Sorry, what were we talking about before the tent distracted me? Look at that. Women's Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals. What do you think of that?
I think that's good.
Anyway, sorry, we were talking about something.
Well, are we on the right track? People who know Philadelphia, are we going in the right direction? I think we are, and I think we need to go to our left at some point.
How do we like this graffiti?
Where?
It's a different style of graffiti than in New York. People will be able to compare this video to some other videos we've done and sort of see some of the subtle differences.
We can do
Let's see
another.
what our comments are saying.
We can do another eventually book. We could do graffiti, pandemic graffiti.
It would be an interesting book.
Yeah, here's a Wawa. I think we walked near her. If
People
not,
are concerned with my road crossing tactics. There's a lot of comments from people.
a lot of chatter. The Long Building.
So wait a second. 4 days of snow starting tonight, Nurse Ratchet says.
Yeah, I think we were down at like 6th and 7th Street. So if we keep going in this direction, we're going to get to the...
There's a lot of stuff out of business around here.
Watch out for those guys.
Well, I think we're getting pretty close to the end of our Philadelphia excursion, Charles.
I mean, our first Philadelphia
Our
excursion.
first Philadelphia excursion.
Right. We've rung the Liberty Bell.
They do cocktails to go, according to that
That's good. And these people do nothing to go.
sign written in crayon.
Leda and the Swan, a music and cocktail hideaway. Yeah, there's some graffiti over there.
Someone asks where we're going. We're just walking around, and
Well,
now
we're
we're
trying
sort of
to-
heading back to the parking garage where the car is.
Which is near Independence Hall.
Yeah.
So that's what we want to find. And I think we'll see it shortly. There's suggestions of it.
Where we parked. We're just going there.
Easy pickings. And big hole in ground. Probably used to be an old-fashioned...
Office space available. I mean, it's essentially the same situation as New York. Philly is a lot less concentrated than New York. But still, tons of businesses closed.
I mean, to try to make a case to relocate here has got to be really freaking difficult.
Yeah.
Man, oh man. But we wonder why. I mean, that's got to be a government building. I mean, who else would be investing money today? Should we go down that
Sure.
way?
I see the Hard Rock Cafe, so
Yeah.
that's probably the center of tourist something or other.
I think we're generally we want to go over that way. These are the guys who are yelling.
Yeah.
So maybe slow it down a bit.
Well, let's see if the comments have any questions or
Sure.
care for any particular commentary about some item or another. Sky Queen is awaiting the Great Pumpkin. I don't understand what that means.
What did he say?
Sky Queen is awaiting the Great Pumpkin, and other people want us to get a Philly cheesesteak.
Philly cheesesteak. I haven't seen a single place.
We're in the part of town where they have the cheesesteaks.
That's right. We've come all the way here from New York. Show us your Philly cheesesteak. Federal, what is
Chili
that?
flea steak.
The Federal Donut Company. Federal Donuts.
Why do they have a chicken on the logo for a donut place?
This is one noisy street. You notice that?
Yeah. Caution falling ice.
Yeah, I think.
Doesn't sound good. Independence Hall is where the Liberty Bell is. Yeah,
Right.
I think that's correct. There's a bagel place called Schmear It.
Yeah, this is Market Street. I think we were.
Oh yeah, so there's a whole, like inside there's a whole food court. I forget what it's called. Right, is that it? I think somewhere around here.
Wow.
Someone's saying that their face mask looks like a dirty diaper. That's disgusting, but you know,
Sad
everybody
but true.
knows, yeah, how we feel about the whole.
Yeah, this is 12th Street, so I think we want to go. Yeah, here's the Pennsylvania Convention Center.
Oh, so this is going to be where the vote cheating happened, right?
I guess. One of the places where it
alleged.
happened. Yeah.
The allegations of vote cheating.
The debunked allegations, right?
Who debunked them?
I think the loud talkers are right behind us.
Are they talking to us?
No, but
Keep an eye
they
on it.
shortly will be in the podcast. District Taco.
I believe I've heard of that. That's from DC.
Huh. Well, this is, I mean, it's sort of busy. Kind of nice.
Maybe I'm wrong. 'Cause it looks like a map of a particular state that I can't recognize just by looking at it.
Whoa, that does not smell good. It smells like grease.
Here's whatever Philadelphia's analog to City Bike is. So that's the perfect analogy. Like the number of bikes they have there compared to the number of city bikes they have
Per
is-
person.
Right, basically New York compared to Philadelphia. Now, here's an AMC theater, Charles. They were one of the subjects of the short squeeze Reddit,
Redditeers.
whatever that was, where Mr. Gavin Wax was down in the park having that, being the spokesperson for that event that Curtis Sliwa was at. And
Right.
I've mentioned this to you, but we noticed when looking at the London Policy Center that Gavin Wax has been added to their list of fellows. I find that really interesting for such a young guy with so few accomplishments to be a fellow at some place like that. What do you think of all these think tanks, Charles?
He's a fellow because he's not old enough yet to be president of the United States. When he gets to be 35, they'll just make him president of the United States.
Why would they make him president?
Well, kind of like Bush and Obama. And
But that's it. They just select someone who has whatever characteristics they think are needed to appeal to people or make speeches or do whatever.
well, that's precisely how AOC was selected to run for election. They did a 10,000 person bake-off supposedly and selected her to run, and they just put her in. Now this is a little bit busier, huh?
Yeah. And I mean, again, without knowing Philadelphia, it's tough to really say.
We're about to be drone striked.
That's what I am looking at. There's a lot of, like this right here reminds me of Chicago a little bit.
Yeah. I haven't been to Chicago in a long time. God almighty, that's
Shorter buildings, but
yeah, this has to be the prime shopping district.
yes, a lot of closed down stuff.
I see that's all you, Jason.
The 8-ball jacket,
Yeah.
that's kind of
'Cause
80s, 90s. I don't
styling
even remember
in,
when
yeah.
that 8-ball jacket was a thing.
Show up in Hollywood, Spielberg's office. I got the gear.
I've been in Spielberg's
I know.
office. It's
I'm
really
good. Trying to
nice.
give you a chance to talk about it.
So, someone's saying that Jason should do First Amendment audits. I'm not sure I know what that means.
I mean, I'll tell you one firm that should not do First Amendment audits, BKD.
Yeah.
They can't even do standard audits.
No.
Let's give this guy some room.
Yeah. Hey, look, Fauci advertising jewelry. Gnomes.
Cancel out a racist vote. Vote now. That's outrageous.
How do they know they're not voting for the same? Oh, Money Mart is out of business.
Yeah,
Charles.
it's out of money.
That's very telling. And of course, their address.
93.
This Money Mart location is closed.
Addiction
Can't even sell
medicine
money.
health advocates. Let's keep going, Jason.
Yeah, it tells you about the neighborhood that you're in.
Yeah, I have a feeling
Check cashing and addiction places.
if we see a pawn shop, we definitely know we're in the wrong part of
Right.
Philadelphia. Now, there's the Jefferson. I think we need at some point to make a right here.
There's the Philadelphia Inquirer up there.
That was a serious newspaper. I don't know that it is anymore.
And what's this here? Courthouse.
United States Courthouse. No smoking within 25 feet of all doorways. No thinking within 100 feet of any judge.
So Charles, I sent Alan Dershowitz a cease and desist letter because he put out a podcast in which he said several things that are flatly untrue.
I think you need
About
to
me.
kick his scrawny butt.
What's that?
You need to kick his scrawny butt.
Well, I'm
mean,
just trying to hold the guy to honesty, and I mean, what he's doing is a clear demonstration that he lies freely.
Well, there's a concept, Jason. What we could do is we could do a debate, an idiot debate-a-thon, Fauci versus Dershowitz, pay-per-view.
I think they kind of like each other. They're probably, you know, they both want mandatory vaccines.
There's Wells Fargo. I wonder if that isn't where we were. Remember the big
Oh, that Wells
yeah,
Fargo?
Yeah. I think we're getting close. I think.
Well, there was the Wells Fargo Museum.
I know.
There have
I
been
think
a
we're
few-
getting pretty close.
few
could be
Wells
wrong.
Fargo things.
Here's that. This is an old-style office building across the way. You know, probably get knocked down soon.
It's kind of like a classic building.
Yeah, it is. Does it say what it was? Probably I can't read it from here.
801
Below that, though,
doesn't say.
doesn't seem to say. There's that helicopter again.
Yeah. With malice toward none, with clarity
Charity.
or charity for all. So is that constructing the?
That's the Clinton.
Lincoln.
That's the Clinton Foundation motto. No, that's the Biden Foundation motto, right? They plagiarizes everything. So amazing. Yeah, he'll get up at this. He's going to give his State of the Union address on the 23rd of February, and I'm sure he'll get up there. 70, whatever it was, 40, how many years ago?
7.
7 years ago.
He joined.
Right.
Oh no, score is what?
20.
Right. So
87 years ago.
7 years ago. He joined the Senate, and nothing has been done since then.
Well, I'd say 18 years ago, he began his life on this planet as an idiot, or as they say on Ireland, an Egypt. And now he's president of the United States. God help us.
I know. I've never had this feeling before where even just thinking about the fact that he's president of the United States literally makes me sick.
Right. Well, and this whole impeachment drama, the second impeachment drama, you know, it just makes a mockery, which I think is the intention, makes a mockery of our judicial system,
Yeah.
of this country, of the history, and distracts the country at a time when we got some serious freaking problems we got to deal with here.
Worst ever. And that's what they want, is to distract everybody.
And I've got to listen to Mrs. Fan talk to me about, you know, Eric Swalwell, Mrs. Fan. I got to listen to him. I got to listen to him tell me how horrible Donald Trump is. Are you freaking kidding?
That's some kind of Department of Justice in Philadelphia. What is this? Public entrance, Judicial District of Pennsylvania. Seal of the First Judicial.
It says probationers and authorized personnel entrance only. I don't think this is anything we want to get involved with.
No.
Yeah, here, Independence Hall, straight ahead. My unerring sense of direction.
Very good. What is this thing here? Another court building?
No. In fact, you will remember that this is the way we drove.
I don't remember that.
Well, you see that P there? Parking sign?
Ah.
That's the P, the first P that.
Oh, yes, right. Well, I guess it might be time to end the broadcast, Charles. We're 2 hours in here. Anything else you want to discuss?
Just that I'm freaking cold, Jason.
It's freezing. It is.
Yeah, I think the next road trip should be to a warmer climate.
Well, I'm hopefully going to beat the snow. Everyone is rightly pointing out we've got days of snow ahead of us, and There's a nail spa.
Yeah, Yu-Ya Nail Spa.
Yeah. Hopefully the snow does not become a major...
I got to give myself a major league pat on the back.
For what? Finding the place? Yeah.
This
Here
is
we
like-
are. All right. Well, so is that it? That's all
That's
you
it.
wanted to say, Charles? All right. I do want to remind people to visit crowdsourcethetruth.com. This is Sunday's video, but if you scroll down past the video and check out the Counter Lawfare Fund, there's a number of sponsorship opportunities there that include annual subscriptions, gift subscriptions for friends and family, and it's going to be a huge help to me. I am still involved in this lawsuit with the Emmys as well as 2 other lawsuits. So for people who want to help me show social engineers that they can't just go around suing people to get what they want, if you sponsor the Counter Lawfare Fund or become a sponsor of Crowdsource the Truth on subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth or patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth, you can help keep the show going, help keep it on the air. You know, it's interesting, Charles. I know what my bill is for the Emmys lawsuit. It's really difficult to understand why the Emmys would be so dug in. I mean, they are spending well over 6 figures right now on this lawsuit against me about this image of their statue. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but you know, we're at discovery right now. They're trying to prevent me from learning the things that I want to learn about allegations that I've made regarding, well, people can read the allegations. Anyway, thanks for sponsoring the show to people who have done that. Thanks for watching, for everybody who's watching. Thank you, Charles, for coming with
My
me to
pleasure.
Philadelphia. And I will see everybody soon. Have a great day.